The French Far East Expeditionary Corps was a colonial expeditionary force that was formed in 1945 during the end of the Pacific War and World War II in Indochina. It was made up of French colonial light infantry volunteers and with French Foreign Legion units also being part of the Expeditionary Corps. There were no French conscripts within the Corps, and the only French personnel were volunteers. Less than half of the total personnel in the Corps were French professional soldiers who were mostly serving with paratroop artillery and other specialist units. From September of 1945 to the ceasefire in the Indochina War in July of 1954, the Expeditionary Corps was composed of a total of 488,560 men and women, with 223,467 French from metropolitan France, 122,920 North African soldiers from Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco, 72,833 French Foreign Legionnaires, which included men from Germany, Italy, Spain, Hungary, Poland, Ukraine, Georgia, the Czechs, and a number of other different nationalities. And there were additionally 60,340 sub-Saharan African troops. In November 1953, the French volunteer UN battalion, which was the size of a regiment that had fought in the Korean War at Heartbreak Ridge, Wonju, the Twin Tunnels, Arrowhead Hill, and Chip-Yong-Ni, would be sent to Vietnam after the end of the Korean War. They would participate in the siege of Dak Doa in February 1954 and in the Battle of Mang Yang Pass before being disbanded and reduced to a battalion size, and they left Indochina on July 17, 1955, where the unit would be sent from Saigon to go to Algeria to fight in the Algerian War, and then finally returned to France with the signing of the Evian Accords in 1962. French forces were divided between Northwest Operations Group, Far East Ground Forces, North Vietnam Ground Forces, South Vietnam Ground Forces, and separate naval and air forces. Most equipment used by the Expeditionary Force were American and British from World War II, but also there was French armaments. Planes used by the French Far East Expeditionary Corps Far East Air Force included the B-26 Marauders and Invaders, P-63s, C-47s, C-119s, F-6Fs, SB-2CSs, F-8 F-1BSs, and PB-4T-2Ss. Near the end of World War II in March 1945, the Japanese staged a coup in French Indochina, and in August, the Viet Minh would successfully conduct the August Revolution against the Japanese puppet state. The French Far East Expeditionary Corps was created by French General Gabriel Zapatier in Saigon, who sought to wage a guerrilla war against the Japanese in Indochina following the March coup. After World War II, the war in Vietnam from 1945 to 1946 would break out in South Vietnam below the 16th parallel, and would result in a Franco-British victory, and the Viet Minh would withdraw to the countryside to conduct a long-term resistance war as France reoccupied the southern half of Vietnam. With the outbreak of the First Indochina War in December of 1946, the French Far East Expeditionary Corps grew in size to include the forces that I had previously stated at the beginning of the video. The Communist Viet Minh, led by Ho Chi Minh, overwhelmed its rival nationalist movements and organized itself as a guerrilla army using irregular warfare, which the French were not prepared to fight against. The first commander of the French Far East Expeditionary Corps during the Indochina War was Philippe Leclerc de Hautecloque, who died in a plane crash in 1947 in Algeria on his way to France. Jean Vallet succeeded de Hautecloque and launched operations Le and Ceinture in 1947, which were tactically victorious and helped French morale as French forces had routinely been ambushed and lost to the Viet Minh. However, these operations would fail to capture Viet Minh leadership. There were other commanders who followed, but in November of 1950 came Jean de Lattre de Tassigny, and he won 3 major victories at Vien Linh, Mao Khe, and Yen Cu Ha, and successfully defended the north of the country against Viet Minh and Vietnamese intelligence General Giap. He would, however, die of cancer in 1952 and lose his only son in the Battle of Day River. De Tassigny was followed by Raoul Salan, who transferred to Algeria after being commander-in-chief of Indochina for a year, and he was followed by Henri Navarre, who led the disastrous Battle of Dien Bien Phu, and he was considered responsible for the loss and was replaced on June 3, 1954, by General Paul Hillet, who who lasted for around a year after the end of the Indochina War, with French forces in South Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. After the withdrawal of the last French Far East Expeditionary Corps troops from the independent capitalist Indochinese states in 1956, the Corps was disbanded by General Pierre Jacquot. Did you know about the French Far East Expeditionary Corps before this video? Is there any information that I left out or should have covered more of? Write in the comments below, and thank you for watching.